Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 49 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And today, my special guest is our former gymnast, Danae Fletcher. And you might be saying, wait, former gymnast? I thought she was going to be on the roster this season. And that is true. She was. Unfortunately, she did have to medically retire. And so we do talk about that in the interview, along with some other things and what her plans are post gymnastics. So you will definitely want to stay tuned in for my interview with Danae Fletcher. But first, let's get to some of the Sooner headlines of the week. We do not have an injury segment with Dr. Lynan today. Fortunately, there's not much to talk about on the injury front, so no complaints there for sure. I did want to mention our former Sooner, Wanye Morris, who plays for the Chiefs, did have a season ending knee injury in their game last week. So, unfortunately, he is out for the season. But unfortunately, yesterday, the Chiefs were knocked out of playoff contention. And Patrick Mahomes also went down with a knee injury, season ending. Best wishes out to Wanye Morris, our former Sooner, that he gets well soon, as well as Patrick Mahomes and all of the injuries across the NFL. We never want to see anyone hurt. But again, luckily, not a lot going on the injury front for the Sooners, especially heading into the CFP game this Friday as we host Alabama in round one. We definitely know that Gentry Williams will not be back to play in the game since he had his shoulder surgery after getting injured in the Texas game earlier this season. And last we heard, R. Mason Thomas is an unknown status. So not sure what's going on with that. Was hoping to maybe get a little more information before recording and as we head into the game this week. And some of that may come out as we get closer to Friday. If it does, I will be sure to update and post that on social media. But as of right now, his status is unknown. A quick shout out for our NFL Sooners. Mark Andrews, I failed to mention this on last week's episode, but he got engaged to his longtime girlfriend, Lena Yates, over the Thanksgiving holiday. And only a couple of days later, he signed a 3-year deal worth $39 million with the Ravens. He will definitely go down as a team legend there in Baltimore. It's really hard to have a couple of weeks there as Mark Andrews, but congratulations to him. Also wanted to give a shout out to our former Sooner Marvin Mims, who now plays for the Denver Broncos. He was the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week last week after his awesome punt return for a touchdown. Also, moving on to college football, in case you missed it, OSU did hire a new football coach from University of North Texas, Eric Morris. And during his introductory press conference last Monday, he did say that if anyone asks Coach Morris if I welcome that game, referring to Bedlam, I welcome it with open arms. So that is music to our ears as Sooner fans, to the state of Oklahoma for sure, as we did have Bedlam basketball doubleheader with the men and women this past weekend. That tradition carries on. Baseball and softball have continued to play, as have soccer and many other sports. So it's just very exciting to think about that Bedlam football could be in our future somewhere down the road. Not sure how that would all work out given the state of non-conference schedules and things like that. But it's nice to know that there is a coach on board who's willing to try to make it work. So as half of a Bedlam household here, I know we are very excited about that. So that is definitely promising for sure. Did want to point out that our Sooner wide receiver Jaden Gibson has entered the transfer portal. That window has opened and several other big names have also gone into the portal. Jackson Arnold from Auburn, obviously former Sooner. The Florida quarterback has gone into the portal. Cincinnati's quarterback has gone into the portal. Several big names across college football, so it's already rolling. But as of right now, Jaden Gibson, our former wide receiver, is the only one to have entered the portal. Gibson did have 15 receptions, 387 yards, 5 touchdowns on his career with Oklahoma. He tore his ACL last season, has not seen the field since. He does have 2 years of eligibility left, so we do wish him the best of luck on his next endeavor. The all SEC teams were announced this past week, and no David Stone and no Brent Venables among the 12 finalists for National Coach of the Year left a pretty bitter taste in Sooners' mouths after those snubs. there is plenty of motivation out there for our team going into round 1 of the CFP. However, OU kicker Tate Sandell named SEC Special Teams Player of the Year. He was also our first ever Lou Groza Award winner. He made 23 of 24 field goals and 32 of 32 extra points. This year for the Sooners, he also was 7 of 7 from 50 plus yards. He set a school record making 23 and counting straight field goals. So shout out to Tate Sandell, our first Lou Groza Award winner. Such an awesome accomplishment to get that recognition that he so well deserves. Cortland Guillory and Michael Fasusi were named Freshman All-American. Cortland Guillory started 10 games this season, breaking up 6 passes while allowing just 21 completions on 44 targets for 206 yards and 1 touchdown. Michael Fasusi started 9 games, playing nearly 600 snaps at left tackle, allowing just 2 sacks on 343 passing yards, and graded among the best run-blocking true freshmen in the country, according to Pro Football Focus. Cornerback Cortland Guillory and running back Troy Blaylock made the All-SEC freshman team, and Michael Fasusi did not. So there wasn't a lot of consistency among the national award and team members, which is always frustrating, but we will take all the recognition we can get for our guys on any level because it is definitely well deserved. 10 Sooners did make the All-SEC team this year. First team are Mason Thomas, Tate Sandell, Grayson Miller. Second team, Isaiah Satanga, Fabechi Nweyu, Taylor Wine, Peyton Bowen, and Ben Anderson. Third team, Eli Bowen and Jared Kannick. OU only had 4 selections last year with Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman, R. Mason Thomas, and Ben Anderson. So just an exceptional step forward for our recognition and the hard work that our football team has put in this past season. There have been many other awards. I hope that I haven't overlooked anything. We had the AP teams released as well. I know Tate Sandell was the second team on the AP, which is kind of crazy, seeing as he is clearly the best kicker, who has the award to prove it. But just a shout out to all of our guys, all the hard work that they've done and the recognition that they've received. Just super proud of our guys. And shout out to Coach Venables. All of our coaches have done such an incredible job this year, especially Coach Venables with that defense. Just insane that he did not receive any sort of recognition, which I know is not at the top of his list of things to worry about, but just wanted to give him a little shout out there. Also, in case you missed it, our 2026 football schedule was released last Thursday in the SEC schedule event on the SEC network. And our first road game for the SEC is at Georgia on September 26th, followed by the one and only bye week that we have right before the Red River rivalry. Our SEC home opener is Kentucky on October 17th and South Carolina at home on Halloween. So it will be a great schedule for sure. We are on the road at Michigan, at Georgia, Mississippi State, Florida, and Missouri next season, and we will host at home 6 home games with Texas A&M, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Kentucky, New Mexico, and Utah. And that is our season opener on September 5th. We have a 13-week season coming up instead of the 14, which is why we only have one bye week, which is the first weekend in October. Also, again, just a reminder, next up for Oklahoma football Friday, at 7 p.m., round 1 of the CFP, we host Alabama. ESPN Game Day is in town. It is game 1 of the postseason. And it's going to be a super exciting environment in Norman. I hope that you're able to make it to the game. If not, definitely be sure and tune in. This is a huge opportunity for Oklahoma to make it past round 1. When we beat Alabama on Friday, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there and say when we beat Alabama, we will advance to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena to play Indiana, who is currently number 1 in the rankings at the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. So that's what's on deck for our football team. Moving on to our basketball squads. Men's basketball, Bedlam this past Saturday. Again, it was a doubleheader at Paycom. It was an incredible atmosphere. I would say a decent portion of the crowd stayed for the women's game afterwards as well. It was just so much fun. Love playing those games in that environment. And again, it was great to have the women's game back on deck this season. Oklahoma led Oklahoma State 41-35 at the half. Nigel Pack was leading the way at half with 13 points. We just had a very offensive good half for OU. We just really leveled up better than I've seen all season long from our Sooners. And let's just be honest, the Pokes were really having an off day. We were able to capitalize on that and really make the best of it. Just incredible. I will say Nigel Pack did go out in the locker room for a while with some sort of injury, but he quickly came back out to the bench and back to the floor. Not sure what was going on there, but glad that he was okay and nothing came of that. But Porter Moser, this is such a crazy stat. He's now 4-0 in Bedlam games in the last 3 seasons. 85-76 was the final score. Xavier Brown, 21 points. Nigel Pack, 18. Darion Reed, 10. Tay Davis, 9. And other contributors were Jaden Jones, Mo Wagi, Kowal Atok, Dayton Forsyth, Porter Moser, now 5-4 overall versus OSU, as he started out 1-4. So it's pretty impressive turnaround there in the Bedlam games for Porter. But OU now sitting at 7-3, host Kansas City on Tuesday night back at the Lloyd Noble Center. So when this episode drops on Wednesday, this will have been the previous night before. But a good weekend for Porter and the Sooners, as OSU was undefeated at 9-0 coming into that Bedlam game, and we knocked them down a notch or two. So congratulations to our Sooner men. Just really played lights out on Saturday in Bedlam. So handing the Pokes their first loss, certainly not going to complain about that. And on to our women. They're now ranked number 8 in the polls this week. Aya Chavez, again, freshman of the week for the 3rd time last week. Reagan Beers recorded her 1,000th career rebound last week. She is also on the Naismith Women's College Player of the Year watch list. The women did host Little Rock in the Lloyd Noble Center last Thursday night and beat them 103-48. Final stats on that was Aya Chavez, 20 points. Isaiah Van had 19. Sahara Williams, 2. Peyton Burholz, 5. Reagan Beers, 26 points in that game at Lloyd Noble Center last Thursday. And then again, back to Bedlam. Oklahoma outscored Oklahoma State 30-19 in the 3rd quarter to take a 16-point lead into the 4th. Just a very excellent quarter for Oklahoma. I think that really pushed them over the edge to secure that win. In the final score in Bedlam, 92-70 over Oklahoma State. OU's Jenny Baranchek was killing it with the fit at Paycom this past Saturday. If you didn't see a photo of her outfit, go check it out on social media. She was knocking it out of the park. She improves to 7-0 all time in Bedlam games. OSU's JC Hoyt, 0-5. And the final stats on that game, Aya Chavez, 15, Peyton Verhulst, 10, Aya Van, 15, Sahara Williams, 18, Reagan Beers, 22, and even several of our players came off the bench to score points as well. Just an excellent outing by our Sooners, men and women, at Paycom on Saturday. Bedlam sweep at Paycom. Doesn't get any better than that. Next up at home for our women on December 22nd. I believe they play at noon and the men play that evening. So if you're looking for fun activity next Monday, the 22nd, check out the women's basketball game. I believe it is at noon. And the men do play at home that evening as well. I was sitting down pretty close to the court at Bedlam and Paycom, right next to the tunnel where the players were running out. So it was super cool. I got to high five the guys, high five the girls. Got some video of that. I posted on my social media. Just such a fun time at Bedlam. It was just, I love playing that there, and I really do hope that that's something we keep up. I was able to meet up with Peyton Verhulst and Beatrice Culleton after the game, snap a photo with them. Just sweet, sweet girls. Again, I had them both on the podcast. If you missed their episodes, go back and listen to those. They were both on just in the last month. Again, just I appreciate them. I'm so thankful for the relationships that have come from this show. And it was just such a delight to get to catch up with them, especially after that Bedlam win, and celebrate a little bit. Carter Schubert was named Big 12 Wrestler of the Week last week. We have a number 20 team ranking, and we have several individual rankings as well, with Connor Hendrickson, Tyler Wells, Rafael Hippolito, Peyton Keller, Carter Schubert, Brian Soldano, DJ Parker, and Juan Mora with their individual rankings. If you missed my episode with DJ Parker, it was just a couple of weeks ago, but go back and give it a listen. You'll learn a lot about the wrestling program, DJ, and he teaches us about the general wrestling rules, just things that a lot of us don't know about the sport. But they had two great wins this past weekend on the East Coast. rallied late, found a way to win on both Saturday and Sunday. We earned our highest ranking dual win since 2015, a duel that came down to the final bout. Number 20 Oklahoma rallied late to knock off number 12 Rutgers 19-14 on Saturday, and then a quick turnaround on Sunday as we won over Rider 26-15. Playing comeback once again, a dominant late surge that lifted number 20 Oklahoma past Rider. Up next for our wrestling squad, they return home to host Tarleton State, SIUE, and Duke in the Norman Duels on Sunday the 21st at McCaslin Fieldhouse. First round bouts are scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. So if you get a chance to get out and support our wrestling guys at home on Sunday morning, great opportunity to do so. Quick shout out to our volleyball players, Kelly Jo Burgess and Alexis Shelton, for being named all region players. Also shout out to our women's golf coach, Veronique Luttrell. She has been selected as the team's international co-assistant coach for the 2026 Arnold Palmer Cup. So shout out to her for representing our Sooners well there. Also, just a reminder, lots of club sports at OU, including women's wrestling, lacrosse, rugby, hockey. Our men's hockey team plays in Edmond at Arctic Ice. You should check their schedule. They do play through the end of February. Just a great opportunity to get out, and it's so much fun to support our Sooners. I do share all that information on my social media as I come across it, so you can check all of that out there as well. For my Sooner MVP of the week, I'm going to give it to our basketball program as a whole. I'll mention Nigel Pack for carrying the men, helping push them over the edge in that Bedlam win. Reagan Beers, as her previously mentioned, accomplishments for the week, and all of the girls that just contributed to that win against Bedlam on Saturday. I cannot tell you how much fun that experience was, and that atmosphere on Saturday. Just so much fun. Again, I hope that's something they continue to do annually for our Bedlam basketball. So my MVPs of the week are going to go to Coach Porter Moser and the men's squad, and Coach Jenny and the women's squad for those Bedlam wins, Bedlam sweep. It just really doesn't get any better than that. Okay, for my Sooner fun fact of the week, Jan Barker is the first OU women's volleyball player to be named to the AVCA All-America squad, twice, doing so in 2010 and 2011. I also wanted to point out that I posted on social media this past weekend some names of my upcoming guests that will be on the show after the first of the year. So just in case you missed it, here are some of these names. Now, most of these have been recorded except for one or two of them, but they are on deck. Coming up after the first of the year, I have track and field athlete Eva Kubikova, who is from the Czech Republic, volleyball player Sydney Thompson, former softball standout Nicole Mendez, a former Sooner Hooper and current NFL Network sideline reporter Stacey Dales. This one I fangirled over a little bit for sure. Just so cool that Stacey gave me part of her time. Also, I have former Hooper Taylor Robertson coming up. She's a super fun one. I enjoyed our chat as well. The soccer player Ali Lassinoli, Crimson Chronicles episode with Noble McIntyre. You guys recognize his name. He's a big supporter of OU athletics. A baseball player, Brendan Brock, softball player, Riley Zake. That's an excellent episode. She has recently came out about her hearing loss and how that's affected her playing, and so you won't want to miss that episode for sure. Also, tennis player Julia Garcia Ruiz, OU Palm member Riley Noble, and that is just a sneak peek. I do have others on deck, but those are all finalized, most of them recorded, so I wanted to put a little sneak peek out on what's coming in 2026 for the podcast, because you're not going to want to miss out on any of those. We're definitely not losing steam in 2026. Also, just a heads up, next week's episode will be dropping on Tuesday, December 23rd, instead of on Wednesday, which is Christmas Eve. I didn't want to drop an episode on Christmas Eve. I know that's a busy day, so we'll be dropping next week's episode on Tuesday. So next week we will talk sports on Tuesday, not Wednesday the 23rd, but it's a special episode, number 50. I have an awesome guest for you. That episode with Stephanie Cooper, who is native from the DFW area. She now lives in St. Thomas. She is the women's basketball coach at the University of Virgin Islands in St. Thomas. Very cool story on how we got connected, and she reached out to me, and I thought this was an excellent opportunity to highlight women in sports outside of the world of OU, of course, but it's just such an excellent episode. I know you guys will not want to miss it. One day early next week, episode 50 with Coach Stephanie Cooper. Make sure you're following me on all social media at Sooner Girl Pod, all the platforms, so you do not miss anything. If you're not following me, please go and do that now. Share with a friend. Make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast platform. Download the episodes. It helps me more than you know. Check out the merch. It's hoodie weather, and I'm loving my Sooner Girl hoodie. You can snag yours. I've got several colors and styles available: t-shirts, long sleeve tees, hats, koozies, stickers, youth sizes, quarter length sleeves. It's soonergirl.bigcartel.com. If you want to join our locker room, our women have a monthly online huddle. We have so much fun. You can find all of that information on my Substack. My playbook newsletter will also be coming up at the end of the month with a recap of all things Sooner Girl Sports Pod you won't want to miss. Sign up for that on Substack as well. And if you're looking to sponsor or advertise on the podcast, I have a great lineup coming up in 2026 you won't want to miss being a part of. Shoot me an email at soonergirlsportspod@gmail.com. Everything that I just mentioned is linked in my link in bio on all of my social media platforms at Sooner Girl Pod. Again, on all socials, my link in bio is my link tree. It has everything linked, all of my social media, podcast platforms, all the information about advertising, the locker room, the playbook, how to help support the podcast, merch, all the things. If you have any questions, don't ever hesitate to shoot me an email or a message on social media. So I appreciate you guys so much. Again, I will see you next Tuesday, where we will talk sports on Tuesday, December 23rd, for special episode 50. Got a pretty short episode for you this week. I hope we have a lot to talk about next week after we beat Alabama in round 1 of the CFP. Hopefully not a lot of injuries, but I will reconvene with Dr. Lynan next week to discuss all the things. And now get ready for my conversation with 3-time national champion, 3-time Big 12 champ, regular season SEC champ, a floor All-American, 2-time Big 12 academic All-American and winter SEC honor roll, Danae Fletcher, our former gymnast. You won't want to miss how she became a Sooner fan and her favorite Sooner memory. You can find her on Instagram at Danae Fletcher. I will tag that in the show notes, and I will be tagging her on social media all throughout the week with all the clips, all the things. So I hope you guys enjoy my interview with the sweet Danae Fletcher. I appreciate you taking some time for me because you're one busy gal.
This whole law school thing, this forum that I have to go to, it's crazy.
Oh, how fun. Well,
yeah.
Life is always throwing curveballs. So.
No, right? It's crazy.
It definitely is. I know. Okay, well, let's just talk for a little bit about, I'll just open it up to you. I want to hear a little bit about your gymnastics journey, kind of just where you started and what got you to Oklahoma from the East Coast, and just where life has led you right now, too. So you got a lot to tell. So
yeah. So I kind of started, I went to a few different gyms growing up, because when you're in the East Coast, and especially in growing up in Philadelphia and New Jersey, there's no really like good gyms to where you can go. So I had went to a gym called Barquette's. That was kind of like my first like big gym where I like got most of my skills at. And that's where also E.B. Price went, and a ton of other, Christina Desiderio probably is a more recognizable name, went there. Love her. MJ Frazier, Margzetta Frazier, I live 5 minutes from them. We grew up together. And we actually went to another club gym together. When I was younger, we went to like one of our similar club gyms. So that was really nice as well. But we kind of it's kind of more of like you take it as a, it's kind of weird because I don't really know how to describe it at some point, because it's just like you just, it goes based off of your talent. Like the coaches really pay attention to like who has talent and to like who has so and so and so and so. So I transferred out of my old gym because I was more of just a talent-based gymnast, and I wanted to be more execution-wise, and I wanted to have another opportunity to just get better in that way. So I went to MG Elite with that's a gym where Riley McCusker went, and Olivia Greaves, and where Lori Hernandez formerly went as well. And same with Jasmine Foberg. Yeah, Maggie was my coach, Maggie and Vicky, and they were like my two. I love them so much. They were one of the best coaches that I've had, and they completely transformed my gymnastics. It started from KJ came to visit MG Elite, which is crazy because obviously we're in North Jersey, so it's like far trek from Oklahoma, because they wanted to see Olivia and Riley and whatever, and I was new there, and so she kind of didn't really know who I was, and it was kind of nice because after the practice was done, she was like, who is this? Like, I want to talk to her more. So that was really nice because I've never really had, it was nice because I never really had something like that, and that was like the first like official like recruiting thing that I've like had to deal with, besides like those letters and everything that you have. So that
Yes.
was really nice as well. But then, like, obviously, I got more contact and like wanted to visit and everything. It kind of just felt like home immediately when I came to Oklahoma, and it being with the coaches and being with the girls, like the class I think that was there for my visit was like Jay Devea and like Maggie Nichols. Like that was 2017 when I went on
Oh
my first visit.
wow. Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that was like the iconic team, like that you kind of everyone kind of grew up being like I want to be like them. So that was really nice to like kind of
Yes.
be a part of that. So then I committed pretty much right after I had got a offer from Florida, but then I committed to Oklahoma just because it felt like a home, and I knew these coaches would be together for a long time, and I knew that there wouldn't be a switch in coaching
Yes.
for a really long time. So it felt
Yes.
right in where I was.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I've heard that from a lot of different people and several
yeah,
of other gymnasts as well. I talked to Mackenzie Wofford and Brenda
yeah,
Dowell, and they said the same things. Just it
yeah,
felt like home when they got there. And of course, like you said, the coaching staff, they've been together for a while and
yeah.
probably will be for a very long
Very
time.
long
So that's
time.
always promising. So, and what a
Hmm.
coaching staff it is. I mean,
I know.
KJ, she needs a statue.
I know. We're waiting. Doesn't Patty Gasso have a statue?
She does, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna
She
need
just got it last year.
we're gonna need KJ to get a statue. I think 7 national
Yes,
championships says enough for itself and her
I
record in
agree.
itself.
I agree. I've also said that about Coach Mark Williams as well, the men's gymnastics
Yeah,
coach.
yeah,
I talked to him back
yeah,
in the spring, and I'm like, dude, you're awesome. And he's been at
yeah.
OU for,
How many, like 30
gosh,
years?
forever.
30
Yeah,
some odd years?
I was a student at OU from '98 to '03, and he was there long before I was. So
Yeah, so I was gonna
early
say,
'90s. Yeah,
I think some of them
he
was
needs a
on a,
statue.
I think some of them was on a team when I was born. I was born in '03.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, I was in college at OU when you were born. That's so funny.
That's crazy. I didn't know that you would have went to OU. So that was nice. That's
Yes,
nice.
yes. Tell me a little bit about your time at OU because you guys have just been national championship machine
Yeah.
for several years during your time there and Big 12 champs and you've got lots of rings yourself individually as well. So, let's talk a little bit about all of that fun stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty more than cool. Obviously, it's pretty amazing to be a part of such a program like this one. I mean, obviously the dominance in the rings, but I think it's more of like the team aspect and how we're all connected to each other. That's really what stood out my entire career. Is just
Yes.
like how it's really more about the team aspect that stands out to me, and what we do and how we bond with each other. I think that's more of what you take away from your time from Oklahoma.
Mhm.
And obviously I'll have the rings for the rest of my life, but and that's obviously a really great point in my entire throughout my career, considering growing up I really was kind of considered the underdog. I never really was winning many meets growing up, and that's why I always say I'm always so grateful to KJ for taking a chance on me too. From because I didn't really
Absolutely.
compete much. I had a major wrist surgery before my freshman year. That's why I came here early, was to get rehab from
Okay.
Jen. So I had a major wrist surgery, and
Nice.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to even do gymnastics after that.
Mhm.
So to be able to do that and come back and then be able to contribute in my first season and my second season competing and winning a national championship, I think it means the absolute world to me personally.
That's
Just knowing what
amazing.
all the
Yes.
stuff that I've been through and all the injuries and the switching gyms and the coaching difficulties that I had
Yes.
went through my entire life, coming out to this moment,
Yes.
I think I think it really became full circle of like now I finally reached what I think I can reach. And I think I also look back at it too, and I become extremely grateful to know that the last major competition that I competed in before I tore my ACL was nationals, was my last Florida team. And being able to clinch,
Wow.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, what was like the last major the competition that I competed in was nationals at 23, and like being able to clinch that.
Wow.
I think being able to look back at it and be like, yeah, I competed the first meet of my junior year, and like I had a great meet. That was also a great meet. So I'm really grateful for that too, because not everyone gets to
Yes.
have that ending like that. And I even remember that when I tore it on my practice day, like we were on bars, and then I don't do beams, so we went from bars to beam to floor. I had a great bar workout. Like the last dismount I did, I stuck my dismount. I remember it very clearly. And like the last floor
Uh-huh.
pass I did before that was essentially perfect. So I think it was it's a to look back on it. And I just think that some of my time here is just like kind of lined up with what it's been meant to be. But obviously it's not the way that I ended was not really the best way I wanted to end it. Obviously missing 2 seasons, it's hard. It's
Right.
hard, really hard on
Yeah.
your mental. your mental health and physically too as
I
well.
cannot imagine. Yes.
Being because you have to be all in, so you have to be able to put everything that you have going on in your head and physically going on with your body aside and be able to do that and
Yeah,
be able to be there for your team. And I think being able to do that was one of the most valuable lessons that I've learned here at Oklahoma. So I'll take that
absolutely.
for me for the rest of my life, that no matter what happens, no matter what you go through, you'll always have your people in your corner, and you'll know how, and you'll learn how to push past anything and become stronger because of it. And I think
Yes.
that's those things, and I think those lessons and the team atmosphere are like the two biggest things that I take away from being at Oklahoma.
Yes.
It's always so nice when people ask me about the rings and everything like that, but I more like to talk about the team aspect and like who we are as a team. We're disciplined, we have integrity, we're honest, we're
Yes.
we're courageous, we're
Yes.
strong. I like to think of all those qualities too, because they all go they what
Absolutely.
they're what makes us get those rings in general. If the team chemistry is off, it's not going to
Absolutely.
work.
Right.
Yeah,
That's so true. Well,
yeah,
that whole story just confirms why you said that your favorite Sooner memory was winning the Natty in 23
yeah,
because you were such a vital part to that and that's so vivid to you. So
yeah,
that's cool to hear that.
yeah,
And like you said, there's so many lessons that you learn as an athlete that is
yeah,
applicable in life that you can take off the mat, off the floor,
yeah,
and so like you said, all of those aspects that are so important to winning those titles and those rings, if you
yeah,
don't have all of those things, it's really hard to attain that.
yeah,
And then like you said, it's so helpful going forward. Like you will never forget all of those things, like your teammates and just the
yeah,
chemistry and all of those lessons that you
exactly.
learned that you just can't fabricate that. Like you have to live it and learn
Yep,
it. And I know a
yeah,
big thing right now is mental health, and as it
yeah,
should be, but just all of the lessons that people are learning and taking from that, and then just sharing with other people the struggles that you have
hmm
and that you're not alone. And I think that that's important because I
yeah,
can't fathom, like you said, having to sit out for that long period of time as an athlete when all you want to
hmm
do is get out there and compete and contribute
yeah,
and you can't. I can't
hmm
imagine the mental toll that that takes. And so again,
yeah.
the mental aspect of it is crazy to think about.
You can read. I like to think about this, and I like to tell certain people this when they ask me about like my needs. I like you can read all
Mm-hmm.
the good memories that I have
Mm-hmm.
on a stat sheet. You can read every single moment,
Uh-huh.
every single thing that I've done here on a stat sheet when you search up my name, when you search me up on anything, YouTube, Twitter. But like
Uh-huh.
what you can't read on a stat sheet is what I've been through those 2 years. And I think that's why it's
Oh
so
gosh, yeah.
important to like emphasize how you really have to just take care of yourself, and like you really have to take care of yourself. You really have to take care of your body to be able to get back where you were. Because in the end
Yes.
of the day, I believe that yes, the people who are doing the gymnastics is who obviously wins the championships, but it's everyone behind them as well. It's the people like
Oh,
me
absolutely.
who encourage people, who encourage my team and let them know like, hey, I've been here, and to let them know in
Yes.
moments where they feel like they can't do it that they can. And that's
Absolutely.
due to my injury. That's due to the things that I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the perspective changes when you were competing on the sideline, when you're competing and when you're on the sideline. I've done both, and that's actually a
So
really rare
true.
perspective to have. And it's helped me kind
Yes.
of it's definitely helped me help others, and I think I've helped other people throughout the season gain confidence as well. But I just like to think I just one thing I like to tell fans too is that like I know you all love your like people and everything, but like make sure that like you kind of pay attention to everyone too, because you never know what everyone else's story is,
Oh my gosh,
and that's such a
absolutely.
big thing. That's such a big thing for me, is you never know what people have been through. Like Addison Snow, like
That's
her
so
dad
true.
went through a major thing throughout the season, and no one knew about it because she didn't compete. But yet she's one of the most
Oh
important people
wow.
on the team, one of the most important people on the
Uh-huh.
team, in my opinion. So you never know. I think the
Wow.
people who don't compete or can competitively are also one of the most important people as well.
Absolutely. Well, like you said, you play a vital role whether you're competing or whether you're
Yeah,
on the bench, being a supporter, and a lot of that plays into the mental aspect of it as well. I
yeah,
mean, you've got to be strong mentally, but you're also playing a part in the whole team, their whole mental
yeah,
aspect as well.
exactly.
So, yeah, so you have been through a lot, like you said, the
Yeah,
last couple years, especially with your injuries and everything, and life took it maybe a different turn than what you had
Yeah, yeah,
anticipated and where you are right now. So
yeah,
let's talk a little bit about what got you where you are right now, and maybe kind of what you see
yeah.
yourself, going forward. You've got something exciting going on. So
Yeah. I do. Well, in terms of how I got here now, do you want me to talk about my injury or my process? Or
yeah,
what do you want me to talk
if
about?
you're comfortable with, yeah, just
Yeah, yeah,
whatever
yeah.
you're comfortable with sharing
I'm
about.
comfortable
I
with
mean, you
that.
can tell a short version for sure. So
Yeah, it's actually not very long. I'm not gonna lie, it's not very
okay,
long.
cool.
I wasn't medically retired until like 2 weeks ago, I think. I think
Yeah.
it's been like 2 weeks. So right in the bank, I announced it at the banquet, at least to the people, the fans and donors who were
Okay.
there, because I had to
Yes.
do my senior
Okay.
speech. I had to do my senior speech, and normally you don't do the senior speech unless like you're actually done. And like if you, since I was coming back next year, I didn't have to do one, but I had to do one,
Uh-huh.
which is kind of scary. But so basically, I was just doing a floor. I was literally just doing a run punch front layout on the rod floor, and I punched, and I felt like a little crack in my knee, and it was fine. Like I could walk, and I thought it was just scar tissue
Uh-huh.
that had popped, but I kind of knew in my head
Right.
from like my other injury, my other ACL meniscus injury, that I was like, maybe I did something, but I don't know. Benefit of the doubt. But then I got
Oh my goodness.
MRI results back, and it found out that I had torn my meniscus, and it's a really easy surgery. They're trimming it out.
Yeah.
It's literally going to be, I'll be walking out of the surgery center that day, and it's like a 3 week
Yeah.
recovery. But I knew that if something could tear so simply on that type of thing, that I
Yeah.
should probably, I know my body the best. And with the
Yeah.
support of my trainer and KJ, we all decided that it was best for me to just medically retire and end it on, finishing last year and
Yes.
ending it like that. But in terms of what I'm doing now, I'm in grad school right now for criminal justice, and I'm actually, like you said, I'm so excited tomorrow. I'm going to a law forum, which is kind of like a conference ish where you meet with a bunch of law schools, and it's a great way for you to connect
Yeah.
and for you to communicate with them. And like, there's even opportunities where, like, if when you meet with certain booths, like, you can get your law school admission fee waived. So like, that's nice as well. And it'll
Nice.
just be nice because every single
Yeah.
school that I want to go to potentially will be there. So that's a
Oh,
really cool
good.
experience. So I'm doing that on
Yes.
Friday. It's in Atlanta, and then Saturday I'm doing the same thing, but it's just like an HBCU version, and we're gonna go
Okay. Yeah.
visit like law schools like in person. So like we're going
Oh,
to Emory, which is
cool.
actually where my sister went to undergrad, which is really
Oh my
cool. So
goodness.
like, yeah, we're
Okay.
going to a bunch of places. And then this summer that just passed, I had went to London for 3 weeks for a law fellowship. So I was there in
Oh,
London for three
cool.
weeks doing all things law. I'm being with
Uh-huh.
solicitors and barristers and learning all about UK law and the legal system. So that was
Wow.
really fun. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that's where
awesome.
I'm
How
at right now.
cool.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, you've got a lot of exciting stuff in front of
I
you, so
do.
I'm excited to see what
Yeah.
comes. I mean, I will hate not seeing you compete this season. I
Yeah.
know that I think I had even mentioned your name back in the summer when I talked to Mackenzie and Brenna.
Uh-huh.
And just talking about the upcoming season, I was like, "Oh, Danae's coming back."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so I know a lot of people will be sad not to see you on the roster, but very much understandable. I don't blame you at all. I mean, it's
Yeah.
good to go out, like you said, on a high note, and before
For
you
sure.
injure yourself even worse. And
Hmm.
just going forward, you've got a lot of life ahead of you, and
Yeah.
you need to take care of yourself. So
Yeah, I think
I don't blame you.
I'm gonna try and be there and help out, like doing manager stuff
Cool.
there as
Yeah.
well during the meets.
Yeah.
So they have another hopefully I think they have another position for a student coach open. So we'll see. We'll see how that
Oh,
goes. Yeah, I'm gonna spend some time at home first before I go back.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Well, I'll be looking for you over there
Yeah.
on the sideline. I'll hope to see you.